Here we go. Today's objective, I can write and graph a slope-intercept form equation given the slope and 1 point. I can write and graph a slope-intercept form equation given the slope and 1 point. Let's read it together. 1, 2, 3. I can write and graph a slope-intercept form equation given the slope and 1 point. So yesterday we were using slope-intercept form to graph and to write equations, okay? Today, we're going to write still that form, but using only slope and 1 point. They're no longer going to give us the y-intercept. So let's find out how this works. Copy that objective down, please, at the bottom left of your notes. All right, here we go. So yesterday, we started with slope-intercept form. So I gave you guys a Freyer model, right? We know what slope-intercept form is. It's y equals mx plus b. Slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. Today we're going to introduce a new form. So copy these steps down. Step 1, it says, to write a slope-intercept form equation, number 1, write the point-slope form equation, which is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Step 2, substitute the given slope and point. And step 3, solve for y. Copy that, please. All right, our steps. It says, to write a slope-intercept form equation, I write the point-slope form equation. We first write this. Then we substitute information, which is the slope and point. And then at the end, we solve for y. So check this out. We need to make sure we remember this form because we are going to need it for the rest of the chapter and for the next time that you just are given a point and a slope. So check this out. Point-slope form is, everybody look up, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. I'll stop right there. So once again, our point-slope form is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So now, not to get confused with the point slope, which is this one. I mean, slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. That's why you need to understand which form you're working with. So slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. Point-slope form is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Okay? So far, so good? So in order to write an equation, we need to write this form, fill in the information with a slope and point, and then solve for y. However, I'm going to ask you to do another thing, which is to graph, given the point and the slope. So here are the steps. Underneath that, we need to write some more steps. It's only 3 steps. Write these down, please. To graph a line given a slope and 1 point, I plot the points, use the slope to plot points, and graph the line. To graph a line given the slope and 1 point, I plot the point, use the slope to plot points, and graph the line. Write that down, please. All right, so we got our steps to write our equation, and we got our steps to graph our line. Are we there? Okay, here we go. So with that said, copy this example on your graphing paper, please. Example 1A on your graphing paper. It says, and write the text, please, for this one. Graph the line with the given slope that contains the given point. and the slope that they give us is 2, and the point they give us is 3, 1. Graph the line with a given slope that contains a given point, slope 2.31. Copy that, please. Pens down, eyes up here. Let me go over this one first. Here we go. Everybody look up, please. Here, go over the steps. I gave you guys steps for graphing. Is that correct? Yes. And we just wrote them. It says plot the point. There it is. Plot the point. Use the slope to plot points and graph your line. So with that said, let me see. So for this one, I need to plot my point. What is my point? 1. I'm going to do that in blue. This is X. This is Y. It's 3, 1, 3, 1, and you're just paying attention. You're just, and from there I get my slope. By looking at it, my slope is 2, and remember we need to write it in fraction form, so it's 2 over 1. So my rise is 2 and 1 to the right. Remember, the run is always to the right. Okay, the only one that changes either negative or positive or up and down is the numerator, which is the right. So this one, 2 up, 1, 2, and 1 to the right. I plot my point. I do it again, 1, 2, and 1 to the right. I do it again, 1, 2, and 1 to the right. And then from there, step 3, graph your line. Nice and straight like mine. Copy that, please. All right, everybody got it? Okay, finish copying this, and then I'll post the next one. Copy the next one down. Okay, example 1B. You don't need to copy the text. You already have it written down from the previous one. Just copy the slope and the point. The slope and the point, and we're going to do this one together. Okay, here we go. So, they give us a point, and this is my x value, my y value. Let's plot that. -2 and 4 of y, it's up here. So I plot my point. Okay, so we're doing this one together. Plot your point. And from there, we're going to use our slope. It's already in fraction form, isn't it? Yeah, so therefore it tells us to go 3 up, and how many to the right? 4. So from that point we go 1, 2, 3, then we go 1, 2, 3, 4. And on your graph paper you should be able to fit some more points, and then you go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Way over there. Once you graph at least 2 or 3 more points, get your ruler and graph your line. All right, so fairly simple. Let's copy the next one down, please. Same coordinate plane. Use the same coordinate plane. Copy example 1C and copy the slope and the point. Now for this one, this is going to make you think a little bit, see if you can do this one by yourself. But look at, they're given a slope 0. When I gave you the lesson, Introduction to Slope, I said there's 4 different kinds of slopes. Slope 0 is a certain kind. Think about that line and need to go through that point. So let's see if you can get that by yourself. Go. Okay, here we go. They give us the point 4, -3. 4 is x, -3 is y. So that point is 4, -3 is about right there. All right. So the line has a slope 0 and it has to go through that point. So a line with slope 0 looks something like this. Remember? It was a line, it was a horizontal line, and I said if I place a marble and I don't add any force to it, remember that? It stays at rest. Why? Because it doesn't have any slope. So if that line has slope 0 and it goes through that point, so therefore you need to sketch a line going through that point with slope 0. Hands if you got that by yourself. Okay? All right? So let's do one more, last one. Copy this next one down, please. Yeah, same one. All right, so this one is example 1D. They give us the slope -1 and the point 2, -2. So I want you to graph me the line that contains that slope and going through that point. Go. All right, let's see. We plot our point that they give us, x is 2, y is -2, 2 of x, -2 is right here. And our slope, it needs to be in fraction form, so we know that this -1 becomes -1 over 1. So this tells us, the -1 tells us to go down one step and one to the right. Down one and one to the right. Do it again, one down, one to the right, one down and one to the right. And your graph should look something like that. Okay, hands if you got that. All right, copy this next example, please, on your Cornell notes. Cornell notes. Copy this example on your Cornell notes. So, example 2A, I want you to copy all the text, please. So it says, write the equation in slope-intercept form using point-slope form for the line at the given point, at the given slope, and that contains the given point. So write these down, please, and I'm going to go through the first examples, and then we'll do the rest. Yes, yes. Write that down, please. All right, here we go. You'll finish copying in a little bit. Everybody's pens down, eyes up here. Focus, please. Here it goes. I'm going to go over the first one. Pay attention, please, or you're going to miss it. So, to write an equation in slope-intercept form, first of all, we need to write our point-slope form. Our point-slope form we know is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Remember that? Mm-hmm. All right. So, we got that so far. So now, do they give us any information? Yes, they give us the slope, and they give us 1 point. Therefore, if it's 1 point, this is x sub 1, and this is y sub 1. Is that correct? Now that we have information, now we substitute information into our point-slope form. The slope goes here. x1 is 5. y1 is 1. And I bring everything else down. The y, the minus, the equals, parentheses, x, minus, and parentheses. So step 1, you write your point-slope form. Step 2, substitute values. Step 3, solve for y. We need to solve for y. So here we go. You're just paying attention right now. So I'm going to distribute this one first. This becomes 1/6x minus 5 over 6. Everybody see what I did here? Yes, equals, and I bring everything else down, y minus 1. Am I done solving for y? No, I need to add 1, add 1. We're left with y equals 1/6x, and if I change this 1 into a fraction, it's 6 over 6, isn't it? Yes. So if I have 6 over 6, but I take away 5 over 6, so I'm left with 1/6. Copy that, please. Boom. All right, so if you notice at the end, this form, this one is called slope-intercept form. This is slope-intercept form, but the one form that we use to get there, we use the point-slope form, and it's right here, point-slope. We use that one, point-slope form. Okay? So let's do the second one together. Here we go. Our first step, if they give us a slope and a point, we need to write our point-slope form, don't we? So we write y minus y1 equals m times x minus x 1. Let's label our slope. This is m. And our point, this is x sub 1, and this is y sub 1. Now do we have information to substitute?
Yes.
Yes. So what do we write for m?
4.
Negative 4. What do we write for x sub 1?
0.
0. And what do we write for y sub 1?
-3.
Positive 3. And I bring everything else down. The y, the minus, the equals, parentheses, the x, the minus, and the parentheses. Now that we substituted our information, now we solve for y. Let's distribute that negative 4 into each term. So negative 4 times x, that's negative 4x. Negative 4 times negative 0 or 0, that's what?
0.
0 plus 0 equals. Bring down the y minus 3. Are we done solving for y? No, we need to add 3 to each side. We're left with y equals negative 4x plus 3. And we're done. And what is this last form called? Slope-Intercept Form. And what form did we start with? Point-slope form. Are we there? With that said, see if you can do C by yourself. Do C by yourself, please. Okay, here we go. For this one, you got to be really careful because they have a lot of negative numbers. So here we go. First steps first, I'm going to write my point slope form. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Label my information. This is m. This is x sub 1. This is y sub 1. So x sub 1 is negative 1. Y sub 1 is negative 4. M is 1. Are we there so far? Bring everything else down. The y, the minus, the equals, parentheses, the x, the minus, and the parentheses. Some of you messed up right there because you saw the negative number and you didn't bring down the minus. Make sure you bring everything else down because check this out. What is negative times a negative?
Positive.
This becomes a positive. What is negative times a negative?
Positive.
And positive. Now we can distribute that 1 to solve for y. 1 times x and 1 times 1, that becomes 1x plus 1. I bring everything else down, the equal, the y, the plus 4. To solve for y, I need to subtract 4, and I'm left with y equals x minus 4. Hands, have you got that by yourself?
Is it minus 3?
Oh, minus 3, my bad. This is minus 3, minus 3. I did that on purpose to see if you were paying attention. Hands if you got that by yourself. Okay? All right. So let's copy this next one down, example 3. All right, copy this one down. This is example 3A. 3A. Copy the text, please. This will be our last example. Example 3A. Write an equation in slope-intercept form for the line through the 2 points. They give us 2 points, 2, -3, and 4, 1. Copy that, please. 20 seconds. All right. Pens down, eyes up here. Everybody look up, please. Pens down, stop what you're doing, and everybody look up or you're going to miss it. So for this one, we need to write an equation. So to write an equation, we start with point-slope form. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And you're just paying attention. So I'm going to label my slope. Wait a minute, I don't have one. But I do have a point, don't I? Since I have 2 of them, I usually, the first one from left to right is my first point, isn't it? So this is x sub 1. Y sub 1, so therefore this is x sub 2, y sub 2. But the information needed for this form, we just need what? X sub 1 and y sub 1. So for x sub 1, I'm going to substitute the 2. For y sub 1, I'm going to substitute the negative 3. But I'm still missing what? My slope. However, we do know how to get the slope given 2 points. So in order to get this one, I write my formula, m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Remember that one? So therefore, we just substitute information. So we get m equals. So what is y sub 2? 1 minus, what is y sub 1? Negative 3. Okay. What is x sub 2? 4 minus, what is x sub 1? 2. So let's see. What is negative times a negative right here? Positive. So let's simplify this. What is 1 plus 3? 4. What is 4 minus 2? 2. So what is my slope? 2, which is 2 over 1. I'll leave it at 2. Everybody focus, please. Now do I have what to substitute in here? Yes, which is a 2, and I bring everything else down. Y minus equals parentheses x minus parentheses, and let's solve. This is negative times a negative is a positive. I distribute this. This becomes 2x minus 4. Bring everything else down, y plus 3. And at the end, we subtract 3 from each side. And we're left with y equals 2x minus 7. So, same process. The only thing we were missing the slope, and this is what you need to do to get the slope. So, homework. Page 301, numbers 1 through 35 odd. Turn in your homework on your way out. Enjoy your homework. I'll see you guys tomorrow.